Alright guys, welcome back to another Dragon Ball Legends video. My name is D-Free, and for this one we are covering the topic of, are we going to get another Ultra soon? Is it going to be a Final Flash? Is it going to be Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, etc.? We are going to talk about all of that, so be sure to listen through as much of this as you can. Be sure to finish the video if possible, and get all the info that we're going to drop. We are going to cover a lot of things, so without further ado, let's go ahead and hop in. But before we do that, I want to just say thank you for supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it big time. Like, I'm not going to get into a full thing here because I know y'all are waiting, but I really do appreciate everybody that tunes in every single day to all the content from the bottom of my heart. Anyway, so yesterday I covered this reveal, and this reveal showed a Gohan and a Cell. Cell is going to be the LF, and this Gohan is here, which is the first version of this Gohan we're getting in the game, so that's pretty neat. Art's amazing, by the way. Some people were confused because I covered this video, and I talked about in that video the idea of an Ultra Gohan. It's towards the end of the video, so if you didn't actually make it there, you didn't hear me say that, but people were confused, and they were thinking that this was the Gohan I was referencing. It is not, okay? And there's also some Super Saiyan 2 Gohan in this trailer. That Gohan is not a transforming character, seemingly. That is just, it looks like this is just purple Gohan, the one that's been in the game for like forever. Literally like 4 years. So yeah, that just looks like they spliced him in here just because they could. They even did fun little cuts that I think are kind of funny to see. Like this one right here, where they're showing Super Saiyan 1 Gohan, and then it just flips over to Super Saiyan 2 just because they can. It's right here somewhere. So yeah, here it is right here. This is literally two animations spliced together. They showed this. This is like his Rising Rush or something, and they faded out to show the ultimate of the purple Gohan right here. That's literally what this is. So anyway, yeah. So that Gohan is not who I was referencing. I was talking about the possibility of dropping another Gohan about a month later, a few weeks later, things like that. Not even immediately, because some people were also confused about that, saying, oh, we just got Vegito. Guys, I'm not talking about an Ultra this week or next week, in a few weeks, because that would get us back on schedule. So I also want to say I know that would be back-to-back Gohans, but I don't think they really care. Also, another subtopic is the idea that Gohan is like somebody that shouldn't drop on some random, month. I understand that, but at the same time, they basically have established they want Ultras to be a near monthly occurrence, as I'll show you in a second. So some of these guys are just going to have to release outside of big celebrations. It just is what it is. Like, some of them are just going to have to just drop. Like, it is what it is. So anyway, to elaborate, there will be an Ultra within a month and a half. Okay? So just want to throw that out there immediately. So at the end of last year, they released Gogeta Blue. And Gogeta Blue, I think, was on like the 28th or the 30th of December or something like that. Basically, New Year. A month later, almost to the day, they preview and thus release Ultra Hit. So after that, things got kind of fun. Because at this point, I'm saying, oh, Ultras are now back-to-back, like a monthly, basically. Because prior to that, and Gogeta's release, they had been about 3 months in between Ultras on average. Between like Broly and Kaioken and Gogeta, like they only dropped a few last year, and they've already like met that number halfway through the year this year. So anyway, after the release of this guy, they did go ahead and drop Rose. I believe in the middle of March. Zakashi was doing a video on it. I can't find the actual summon banners to show you the literal date, so forgive me. But yeah, middle of March. And I believe this one, so this one pops up a month and a half later. I think this one might have got delayed because of Battle Hour. Correct me if I'm mistaken, but I think Battle Hour came out. And it's not really that he got delayed, but I think they just pushed him a couple of weeks later than, which would have been, the February 30th to match up with Hit and Gogeta. I think they pushed him a couple of weeks later to show the preview for Battle Hour. Anyway, moving on. So a month in between Gogeta and Hit, and then a month and a half between Hit and Rose, and then there's a month and a half between Rose and Majin Buu, which actually coincidentally gets us back at the end of the month schedule, where we've been seeing releases for Ultras on the 30th or the 28th or whatever Gogeta is. He might have been the 30th as well. So anyway, moving on from that, there is a sizable gap here from basically the end of April to middle of July, almost the middle of July. And that gap is multifolded. So there was a couple of week period here where May is kind of like the beginning of the anniversary, the pre-anniversary, stuff like that. Around that time is when we got the Shallot update, I believe, and stuff like that. So about a couple of months ago, almost to the day, things like that. They typically do the pre-anniversary, and they typically don't put out much content during that time period. So while this banner is on the normal period, they are going to have the anniversary starting, though. That's what's also happening for the beginning portion of June, things like that. They're starting the anniversary, and so obviously they have, you know, multiple parts of the anniversary. So we wind up pushing this one out to another month out. So this guy winds up being 2.5 months. That's a really fast 2.5 months. Is my math off? My math's got to be off. I'm not going to count with my fingers, bro. I'm sorry. I suck at math. That's a really fast, like almost 2.5 months. So anyway, if you've kept up with the pattern, that means that there's going to be an Ultra released at worst around the 30th of next month. Well, actually, that would put us to about almost a month and a week, but at worst, okay, let's follow that up with September, mid-September, at worst, to push, you know, that. So there's that. Now, if they push that far, for the record, it's not going to be a Cell Saga character. I highly doubt they start the Cell Saga. If I don't even know if this is a campaign. I don't think this is a campaign. I think this is just a one-off banner, like I mentioned in that other video. And if it's not a campaign, they'll just move on. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they start a whole other campaign if it's that far out and they drop another LF, you know, mid-month next month, you know, a few weeks from now, because this Cell's dropping up tomorrow, right? And so basically, if you don't know about the schedule of the game, when Cell drops tomorrow and Gohan drops tomorrow, the following week, which would be the first week of next month, they would have a Zenkai release. And that week isn't always a Zenkai. It could be a filler banner. It could be a rerun of one or multiple other banners, like Legends, this or that banners, or Ultra banners, whatever. Typically just a filler week. And then they follow that up with another character release, which is most of the time an LF. LFs, I showed you the pattern for these guys. LFs typically release around the 13th, 12th, 13th, 14th of every month. So that would kind of put us in that time period for the second week of next month. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about. Anywho, it's just more or less how much do they want to get back on schedule after the anniversary ruined it. So if they do that, though, we could since we would probably be getting another LF mid-month next month, and then towards the end of next month getting an Ultra, we could just see a whole other campaign begin. It could be another character, like, say for example, they start like Dragon Ball sagas for whatever reason, which I would like actually a lot, and then they wind up finishing off next month with an Ultra Demon King Piccolo, right? That's also on the table as something that could potentially happen. If they decide to drop an Ultra next month, in terms of like the middle of the month or something like that, then it would probably be Cell Saga, right? Because it's only going to take a couple of weeks after this. And so that means if they wait a few more weeks, which was what I was saying, that would push us to being about a month after the release of this guy. And this guy, again, released in the time slot that LFs typically release, so that wouldn't solve their issue. That's why they would do the month and a half thing back here. They were doing the month and a half thing between some of these releases to get back on the right schedule, which would push them at the end of the month. They don't want to be in the middle of the month because, again, the middle of the month is typically reserved for an LF. We have a weird thing now because Vegito and the anniversary ruined the schedule where an LF is dropping at the end of the month in basically the Ultra time slot. Almost. Not exactly, but almost. So anyway, they're going to want to get back on at some point. So I don't know if that means now or the following month. But anyway, the takeaway, excuse me, the point is that an Ultra is around the corner. And I wanted to do this video and talk about that because, I mean, what do you consider around the corner? I'm talking about a month to month and a half, right? Anyway, I wanted to talk about that because some people were saying also, because I guess they were thinking I meant immediately, right? That the Ultra would drop immediately if that's the case. No, but some people were saying it's too soon, etc. after Vegito Blue, and it's like, okay, yeah, but you got to understand that while I would like for Ultras to be spaced out 3 months like they were last year, they have shown the propensity to drop them in half the time this year. That's the goal. Half the time, basically, or a third of the time, right? This year than it was last year. Because they're trying to establish Ultras. They're trying to drop as many of them as they can in the summon pool. They're trying to eventually get to a point where they can increase the rates on these characters and put multiple of them on the banners, unless that has already happened. I don't believe it has, though. They're trying to get there. It's just like any other rarity. You can't do that until you get a nice saturation of the characters for that rarity. So ultimately, we're going to see a lot of Ultras, right? The real question, like I said in the beginning of the video, is what character is it? If it, again, to elaborate one final time, pops up sometime relatively soon, it's a decent chance that it's tied into this, and we go from there. Like we saw with some of these other releases, the ultras are typically tied in. You know how hit drops after, what, 17 or something like that? And then also, Rose, I believe, had some stuff popping up, but before that, or after that, excuse me, we also have the Kid Buu and all that campaign stuff. So let me know what you guys think. What ultra do you think we're going to see? When do you think we will see it? How do you think the upcoming schedule will be for the game? I want to know you guys' opinions and thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to subscribe, click thumbs up, and click one of the videos on the screen before you go, and including scanning that QR code. I'll see you all in the next one.